the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the
Constitution
United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and
domestic,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear truth and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
faithfully
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations. I will shake your hand virtually.
Help you, God. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Supervisor.
Thank you, Supervisor.
Okay, moving on. So now today, because it's January, we're going to do the reorg selection of the chair and the vice chair of the MAC. So I like to nominate Jane Nye to be the chair of the MAC. Is there any other nominations?
I second that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. I guess then we take any other nominations? No? Okay. Then I guess is that right, Supervisor? Then we take a vote on that?
I'll do the roll call for you. Seema Chandra,
Yes.
Jane Nye,
Yes.
JL Diaz,
Yes.
Elon Glickstein,
Yes.
Janice
Yes.
Smets.
Yes.
Okay. Woo, Jane, now you're the new chair.
Thank you. Thank you.
So does Jane take over now, Supervisor?
Yes.
Hey, Jane, it's all yours.
Well, thank you. We need to nominate a vice chair.
Yes. Who wants to run?
Do we have any nominations?
Alon, I nominate Alon.
I second that.
Okay, I'll do a roll call.
I like to nominate JL.
Uh-oh.
No, I just
Uh-oh.
nominated
Wait.
you.
I've done this many times. I've chair and vice chair. You need to try it. You need to try it sometime. You can't, it'd be fun. It's not hard.
We've already had a second. Do you want to withdraw, Alon? We've already had a second.
A second for, I
You.
know, but I want to nominate him as well.
All right.
Anybody want to second that?
Well, you need to.
Well, nobody wants to second it, so you're in.
I'll second it if JL wants to. I'll second it.
Oh, all right. Let's vote.
Well, you have the first one. The
Okay.
first motion.
All right, so first
Oh.
we vote for Alon.
I nominated Alon, so my vote is with him.
Yes, and I say aye.
Wait,
So let me do
Venice
do a
has
roll
to do
call
a
for the
roll call.
first
Oh,
motion.
Venice needs to call. Sorry, Venice.
Sorry.
Do you want me to do? I'll do a roll call for the first motion.
For Alon, yeah.
Okay. Seema Chandra,
I'll say no then.
Jane Nye,
Yes.
JL Diaz,
Yes.
Elon Glickstein,
No.
Janice Smets.
Yes.
Oh, well.
I was gonna vote for JL.
I know. Thank you.
Alon is the vice chair.
Congratulations, Alon.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
So am I up again, Seema? We transferred it over to me?
Yes, we transfer.
Okay. So, thank you. We're on item number 5, adoption of the agenda. Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda as it's written?
Let's see. Yes, I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda as is written.
Do we have a second?
I second it.
Thank you. Denise, do you want to do
Roll
roll
call.
call?
Seema Chandra,
Yes.
J9,
Yes.
JL Diaz,
Yes.
Alon Glickstein,
Yes.
Janice Smets.
Yes.
All right, we've adopted the agenda as it's written. Next is item number 6, approval of the special meeting minutes of November 19th, 2020. Do we have a motion to accept the meeting minutes?
There is a change that I have asked for that was, is this the revised one, the latest one with the changes in it?
I believe so. Is that correct, Jan?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I make a motion that we accept the minutes.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
I second it.
Thank you. Seema seconded it first. So we're going to take a roll call, Denise?
Okay, Seema Chandra,
Yes.
J9,
Yes.
JL Diaz,
Yes.
Alon Glickstein,
Yes.
Janice Smets.
Yes.
So that's accepted unanimously. We're on to item number 7, which is public safety reports. And Venice, I didn't hear who the CHP officer was, so we'll start with the Senior Deputy Shermonte from the Ventura County Sheriff's Department.
And then it'll be Lieutenant Key from CHP,
Lieutenant Key.
Jeremy Key.
Okay, thank you so much.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Senior Deputy Shermonte, Ventura County Sheriff's Office. Not too much to report this go around in Oak Park. We are still having our residential burglaries, possibly our Chilean crews coming out, hitting your neighbors in North Ranch. But that doesn't mean that, they can't go over a few blocks. The biggest increase is catalytic converter thefts. That's a auto part that's cut off from the bottom of vehicles. And that's becoming a problem all over the county right now. They cut them off and they go turn them in and recycle them, and they get $300-400 each for them. So we've stopped a couple cars, made a few arrests where you'll find 3 or 4 or 5 catalytic converters in the trunk or in the back seat. So yeah, that's about the only thing big going on across the county right now, but nothing specifically in Oak Park. If anybody has any questions for me, reference Oak Park, I'd be happy to answer anything.
I have a question. This is Alon Glickstein.
Hi.
A quick question for you. We noticed sometimes, we wake up, sometimes we wake up really early, 4 o'clock in the morning sometimes, and we notice cars coming around. We live in a cul-de-sac where people don't usually drive through traffic, and we see these cars sometimes, often it's like a white van crossing, going slowly in the street, making a U-turn in the cul-de-sac slowly, looking around, not really, you can tell they don't belong to the neighborhood. And we've seen this before, and we've talked about this before in MAC meetings, but what's the proper action these days? Do you want us to call the sheriff dispatch and say, hey, I think I have somebody roaming the neighborhood? I mean, this could be anybody, but what do you recommend?
Well, anytime you have a suspicious vehicle that's in a place where it's not supposed to be at an hour it's not supposed to be, we've come across newspaper delivery people. We've come across people that are, 2 or 3 people working together and they're breaking in the cars or checking door handles, or the catalytic converter thieves. So to answer your question, absolutely. Things aren't that busy at those hours. Please give us a call if you can get a license plate, without going outside and confronting anybody. We'd appreciate that as well. But yeah, we definitely want any vehicle that's out of place, people to call in.
So just call the main dispatch, the 654-9511 number.
That's our non-emergency number. Obviously, if it's an emergency, 911. But yes, 654-9511.
Right. Yeah. So that's okay. So it's appropriate to call and to say, I see somebody roaming in our street, not supposed to be there. And
absolutely. There's not too many legitimate reasons. There's contractors and workers that get to work sites early in the morning, and the workers will sit in their cars and so forth. I've seen that in my own house. You know, there's only a handful.
Yeah, I've seen that too. I've seen that too.
Yeah.
That's not, I mean, we can tell when it's not one of those things.
Yeah, then yeah, call sooner than later. You know, we prefer a call immediately versus, you know, we get a lot of calls 10, 15 minutes after the vehicle has left the area, and that doesn't do us a lot of good as far as, you know, locating them. So yeah, call anytime. Any suspicious people or vehicles, we'll be happy to go out and see what's going on.
Go ahead, Janice.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Uh-huh.
Sheriff Monte,
Hi, how are you?
can you hear me? Oh, hi. Yeah, question. Because this is kind of new. As you know, the law was passed that we cannot have second generation rat poisoning in the state of California. My question is, because there's an incident that I'll be reporting later in my report, but if there's a resident or someone who sees a violation to this law, who do they contact?
It's a great question. I know my wife is always stating her concern because we have four dogs, and she's worried that, you know, poison's going to move from one animal to the other. You can call us. We're always the default to call, and we'll run with whatever information we have. You know, if we have a suspect, we can go definitely, at the very least, go talk to them and maybe give suggestions on a better way to treat their problem. Besides us, you can always call 211, not 411, not 911, but 211, and that's more or less an informational number where whatever issue you're having, you can call and they can direct you to the proper agency, I guess. Yeah, I haven't seen that.
The agricultural commissioner.
Or the agricultural commissioner.
Yes.
Yeah. I haven't heard of any calls like that. You know, I'm listening to the radio pretty consistently on this side of the hill, the grade. I haven't seen or heard of any reports like that, but
Well, I
could
guess
definitely be looked into.
Yeah, I do have something I would encourage a resident to contact you. Is there a phone number that she can call you?
If you're referring to the sheriff's department, you could use that non-emergency number, 654-9511. I think you have my number. We've spoken several times.
Yes.
You know, I'm
Okay.
the Oak Park guy, so if it's in Oak Park, she can call me. Be happy to look into it.
That would be wonderful. And by the way, I do understand, after doing some research, it is a misdemeanor in violating that law. So that is something that goes on record. Thank you.
Any other questions for Senior Deputy Charmonte?
Jane, can I ask a question?
Yes, Carolyn.
Hi.
Go ahead.
I'm wondering if you've heard of, hi there. I'm wondering if you've heard of any incidents of people's front license plates being stolen off their vehicles that are parked in their driveway or parked in the street. Is that an issue? Or maybe it just fell off my car, but is that something that someone would want to steal, one license plate?
Well, in my 20 years, I've taken many lost, stolen license plates. I imagine some of the stolen plates I've taken were actually lost, and some of the lost ones I've taken were actually stolen. There are crime groups that use license plates for their vehicles to commit their crimes. I mean, that does happen, but it's definitely not a problem we're seeing right now.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, we definitely want to document it if you do lose your plates for that purpose, make the DMV aware of it and so forth.
Who should I call? The reason I'm asking is because my neighbor right down the street's catalytic converter was stolen. So what you're talking about is this group, you know, being on our street. And so I thought, well, geez, maybe that's what happened. So I didn't know if it was something to report or what I should do.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you lose a plate or a plate is stolen, you want to have it documented. You can call us. We'll send out a unit, because you don't want somebody putting your plate on their car and committing a heinous crime, and the next thing you know, you got the police at your door because they got the plate information in the crime.
Who should I call?
It definitely. again, you can use that non-emergency number, 654-9511. We have cadets and other personnel that will go out there and take that report.
Okay. 805-654-9511.
Uh-huh. And
Okay.
then what we do is we put the plate in the nationwide system. And then if that plate comes up, you know, one of our license plate readers on our patrol units or something like that, it alerts us to, you know, lost or stolen plate. And then the deputy will stop that car and figure out what's going on.
Okay.
Where we get into trouble is people will lose their plate and then they'll find it, but they won't call us back to let us know they found it so we can take it out of the nationwide system. And then
Okay.
that you know, causes issues. But yeah, if you lose or lost plate, stolen plate, call us, we'll document it. If you find it and get it back, call us, we'll document it.
Okay. I thank you very much. I appreciate your help.
Uh-huh.
All right. Thank
got
you,
it.
Senior Deputy Shermonte. We're going to move on to Lieutenant Key with the CHP.
Yes, thank you for having me today. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
perfectly.
I became the new commander of the Moore Park area on January 1st, so I'll be helping out with whatever needs you have in your community. You may have dealt with Lieutenant Logie. He's now captain in Santa Barbara and moved on, so to speak. But in reviewing the activity for the Oak Park area, I didn't really find anything that was abnormal or consistent as far as violations. There were 7 collisions in the Oak Park area, and there was no common theme with any of them in a particular spot or anything, although I do notice that 3 of the 7 were involving speed violations. So as of right now, that's all I have, and just whatever you have for me that I can address, I'd be happy to do so.
Do we have any questions for Lieutenant Key as the CHP? I guess not. Thank you, Lieutenant Key. Appreciate you calling in.
Thank you. You have a good day.
Thank you. Next, we're on item number 8, which is Supervisor Parks.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I do want to thank Senior Deputy Sharamonte and Lieutenant Key for coming to our meeting today, and also Valeria Lopez, who is here from Real Estate Services. So a lot of what's happening at the Board of Supervisors has been COVID response, but I did have a really exciting Tuesday. As I think it was my first meeting as chair, second meeting as chair, we were able to appoint a new district attorney because District Attorney Totten has moved on to do some work in Sacramento and left that opening. And we had just tremendous candidates to choose from, and our board unanimously approved Eric Nasser Renko, and Eric is currently in the district attorney's office. He was mayor of Ventura, and we are really excited to swear him in. And we'll be having a ceremonial swearing in at our next board meeting for him. And it really has not happened in many, many decades. I don't know how far back you go. It has usually been the case that the district attorney has his appointee to number 2 slot is the one that moves up. But in this case, there was so much support for Eric Nasarenko that it will be great to see him using all that support to move forward with bringing justice to our county. And I'm very excited about that. So we'll see how that all goes. He will be having to run for re-election if he wants to, and that will be in 2022 in the June primary. Additionally, as I mentioned, a lot of our work has been dealing with COVID response, and probably I think about 90% of my time is spent with that, if not 110%. But I do want to let you know, you may know already, obviously, our county has joined into the back to the purple tier. We were in the stay-at-home orders, but the whole state has had that lifted. So that means outdoor restaurant dining can occur, as well as outdoor gyms and the like. There's a new strain of COVID, as you may know too. It's 50% at least more contagious, and they have found it in about a quarter of all samples now of samples they've taken of people with COVID in the state of California. So while we have been able to remove the stay-at-home order, we do have to be still ever vigilant because it is even more contagious now than it was earlier. Really looking forward, as everyone is, to having this behind us. If you'd like to find out about vaccines, and right now the county has vaccines available to people over 75 or older, and we will be hopefully soon lowering that age range, but you can sign up to get a notification when vaccines are available for you. And you go to www.vcrecovers.com, VC like Ventura County. So vcrecovers.com, and you're encouraged to sign up, and you will get updates on where we are with that information. I know some school districts are in session, and with the purple tier, I think more will have the opportunity to do that too. And I'll be here. We have put together some work, as you'll see later in your agenda, on the protocols, and willing and able to be here to answer those questions too. So that concludes my comments, and let me know if there's anything I can answer for you.
I have a question, Supervisor. So like, I think, is it LA County has gone to 65 and older? I was wondering, and the governor said also we can do 65 and older. So I was wondering why the county, Ventura, is not doing 65 and older for the vaccine.
It was a decision that was made because there isn't enough vaccine. So the idea that we can get those who have the most likelihood of dying if they get COVID is why they selected 75 and older. But I know I imagine within the next couple of weeks, it will then go to 65 and older, and probably with people who have other conditions, 65 and older with some other medical conditions. Not sure how they're going to figure that one out, and then just plain 65 and older. And then we'll get down to lessening that, and hopefully we'll get down into our group, get into 50 to 65 and all that too. So I, as I said, spend most of my time on this, and that's the most common question. I probably should just put that right out there. I think we are probably one of the few in the state that haven't opened it up to 65 and older, but I do anticipate that shortly.
And one more question is, last week or two, Ventura County's been in the top 5 highest cases in California. And I think last week we were #1. Can you tell us about why we were doing so well in the beginning of the pandemic? And why are we now being one of the worst per 100,000, cases?
I would think probably the most likely is we're also the county that's doing the most testing, quite frankly.
Oh.
I think that's the #1 reason that I'm given as to why that is the case. So we have spent an incredible amount of money too. It's like, I'm trying to remember, it was $6 million or $8 million, $8 million, I think it was, just in doing testing.
Oh.
And that's a good thing, because it enables more people to isolate when they find out they have it and to prevent the spread.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yes.
Do we have any other questions for Supervisor Parks? Thank you, Supervisor Parks, appreciate it. We're going to move on to item number 9, information items. Seema, I'm not sure, I don't have any information items. Do you know of any that came into you?
No, I don't. Jan usually puts them there, right, if we have any, so I don't think we have any.
Okay, then we're going to move on to item number 10, which is adjournment of the MAC meeting. I'm going to adjourn and turn it over to Rancho Simi Recreation and Park District.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lisa Wegley. I'm with the Rancho Simi Park District. I'm the recreation supervisor out in Oak Park. Before I get started on the election or the for the Oak Park Committee, do I have any write-in candidates from the public that did not turn in a nomination form? Anybody? Okay, so basically we are holding an election for 3 community at large planning committee seats that will run the term from February 2021 to January 2023. Basically, the Oak Park Planning Committee is to provide input and advisement to our board of directors on specific matters and interests for Oak Park residents. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to touch the voting will take place after this meeting. It'll be at the Oak Park Community Center, which is 1000 Canaan Road. Will be open for voting today from 3 to 6 and also tomorrow from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The results of the election will be provided by press release on February 1st, which is Monday. Did somebody have a question? No. Anyway, we have 5 candidates. I'm just gonna go, I see 4 of them here. So I'm gonna introduce them and they are, can introduce themselves and any other information they would like to provide. So Nicole Lely, are you here? Okay, Carolyn Cass-Barton.
Hi, I'm here. Yeah, I just want to say hi. I think all of you know that I'm Carolyn Cass-Barton and that I've lived here in Oak Park for 41 years. And I've had the pleasure of watching our community and its parks grow and develop. And I've been served on the Oak Park Committee for the past term, and I'm asking to be reelected. I'm very proud that I helped our community save the beautiful heritage tree, ash tree in Mayboyer Park with the community's support. And I look forward to helping get our community center park rejuvenated from the horrible, tragic fire and get our lagoon restored. So anyway, I'm asking for your support and thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Carolyn. Next is Dan Cooper.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Cooper. I've lived in Oak Park for about 9 years, and I am running because I am really interested in fixing the duck pond, reopening the playground at Mayboyer, improving management of Medea Creek, and most importantly, increasing local representation on the Park District Board. I don't think we have anyone from Oak Park currently serving. Just by way of background, I'm a professional ecologist. I conduct plant and wildlife surveys and advise local municipalities and agencies about how to manage parks and monitor rare species. I've served on a bunch of boards, the sensitive ecological areas for LA County Department of Regional Planning, and I'm on a UN board for protected areas of the world. And I love Oak Park, and I'm just really finished my PhD, so now I have more time to do stuff like this. So thanks for your support.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Danny, I don't want to try your last name. I'm sorry.
Brucius.
Your turn.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so I've been in Oak Park for 20 years. I've been in Ventura County for 45 years. As far as Linda Parks, I remember when she had, I go as far back to remember when she made her own signs that were painted that said Parks for Parks. So that's, yeah, I go back quite a while. I'm a master gardener since 2004. I do Helpline, I do speaker series. I've worked with Plant Right, which is they try and get the invasive species out of the nurseries and stuff like that. I've been working with them with their surveys as long as they've been doing them. I was on the Oak Park Landscape Committee in 2004 for maybe 5 years. I'm trained in arboriculture, botany, pest diseases, environmental science, and I am, UC Davis has certified me as a sustainable landscape expert, which I don't really consider myself an expert, but I have really good research skills. The reason that I put my name on here is because I think that our biodiversity in the area is important. And I know we concentrate a lot on the parks, but we have so much natural area like the Medea Creek. If you go back and look at the Medea Creek, after my husband passed, I posted an oak a day for 100 days. And most of those oaks were in Oak Park. So while the ash tree was a big deal, I think that what we have going in the natural areas is really important too. Firewise, I do talks on Firewise landscape. I'm doing not a native talk, but a sustainable plant talk for the Whitewater District in March. That's about it.
All right, thank you. And the last candidate is Sherry Wentworth.
Hi, I'm Sherry Wentworth, and I've actually been the vice chair on the planning committee for the past 2 years. And gosh, we've tackled many diverse issues, everything from pickleball to rebuilding Eagle View Park to public safety and trees at Mayboyer. I really enjoy working with this committee because the members have such a diverse areas of expertise and points of view. And although I spend a lot of time on our tennis courts and hiking our parks and open spaces, my professional expertise is in the areas of finance, budgets, and financial planning. And so my enthusiasm for protecting the people who use our parks, as well as our trees, plants, and wildlife, is balanced with the knowledge and understanding that we must protect our park budgets and funds and make it a priority to use those funds wisely. So if I'm reelected, I look forward to another 2 years of service. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So those are our candidates. Again, voting starts at 3 o'clock. So come on down to the community center and cast your ballots.
I thought you said there are 5.
There were 5. Nicole doesn't seem to. The last one is Nicole Leli. She currently is on the Oak Park Committee. She's also running for re-election. She doesn't seem to be on the Zoom right now.
Lisa, will you repeat the days and times of voting, please?
Sure. Today from 3 to 6 p.m. and tomorrow from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
And do you have to have, I read somewhere that you have to show your driver's license or proof of
we will ask
residency?
for proof of residency. So either driver's license or utility bill or something. So.
Yeah, Lisa, I posted it into Nextdoor with all that information. So hopefully that will get us a little bit more participation, and it's not raining really hard right now. So maybe they'll run right there at 3 o'clock.
Exactly.
I think that's where I read it, Janice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Go ahead, Jana. Go ahead, Jana.
Yes, Lisa, and you said you would post the results by press release on February 1st. Could I also ask that you place it on your website?
Dan?
I mean, because I don't know where we find the press release, you know, do we have to wait till the acorn comes out? Do we have to call you and say what you're...
All of our press releases are on the website. If you go to the homepage, it says press releases, and any press release we issue is on our webpage.
Where do we go? I'm sorry.
To the website, and it says press releases, and you hit that, and any press release the district's issued is on the website.
It's on the main page.
Thank you.
Lisa, anything else before we call Oak Park MAC back to order? Anything else you'd like to say?
No, I think that's it.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, candidates, for speaking.
Thank you.
I'm going to call the Oak Park MAC back to order. It's 2:38. So that was 10 minutes, 2:38. And public comments, item number 12. Jan, do we have any public comments, or Denise?
I think Venice would know.
Denise.
She has to unmute.
Sorry, I forgot I was on mute. I don't have any that were emailed to me, and I'm not seeing any raised hands in the sidebar here or in the chat.
Okay, so no public comments.
I don't see any.
So we're going to move on to item 13, council comments. We'll start with Alon.
Hi, I don't have much to report except we did have a resident of Oak Park try to obtain an oversized vehicle ordinance permit for a trailer. The trailer is just, it wasn't a trailer with the motor on it, it's just a trailer that you tow. And unfortunately, even though I was sympathetic to her situation, and Jan helped the communication, we basically told them that we cannot issue a permit for a motorhome, a trailer motorhome that does not have an engine in it. The ordinance doesn't allow for that, and they're going to just have to deal with whatever they have to deal with. If neighbors complain and call the police, then they're going to have to deal with that. But that's what happened. That's all I have to report.
All right, Janice. You're muted.
Better.
Yep, now we can hear you.
Okay. Yes, there was a letter with me as a CC to Supervisor Parks on an issue that I've been helping, who happens to be my niece, who goes for her wonderful walks every day. And she contacted me of all the rat poisoning bait boxes that she was coming across that were full during her walk. It was up near the Deer Hill area. Fortunately, or unfortunately, on one of the boxes was the actual name of the company. So I did call, and he said he never got the law. And I said I'd be very happy to forward it to him, which I did. And then he responded in writing that he had picked them up. Well, my niece had taken pictures before and after his email saying he picked it up. So that's when she wrote to Supervisor Parks, and I informed him that she did. She came over about 3 days ago, totally excited. She said every one of them has been picked up. But her concern, and my concern, is I'm sure that he has more than that area for clientele. And he did violate a law. It is a misdemeanor. So this is why I'm going, she said she would encourage her to go and bring this evidence to the sheriff to make sure that hopefully it doesn't happen again in our area or any other area. And I encourage any community member to follow up whatever they see. It's my understanding the new poison that Rancho is using, and we discussed it at the last meeting at Rancho, is it's less riskier, but please note that squirrels that are curious can go try to get in there, as well as rabbits, but it's not second generation. Also, the bait boxes should be one flow. In other words, the rat goes in, can't come out. So if you come across these bait boxes, do check to see if it's open bait or if it's a shut-off cover to it. But yes, and by the way, my niece did find an owl pellet near one of the bait boxes that was open, and it definitely was eaten. So we can always hope that the owl or the rat didn't have enough in there to kill the owl. That's all we can hope for. But I want you to know that there's companies out there that are just going to take the risk, since it's just a misdemeanor, I'm sure. So we have to be very vigilant. Mostly at the last Rancho meeting, we talked about the upcoming elections. There was an individual, Marju, I think you're here with us. I thought he was going to be there, but apparently he's decided that Dan's going to do it. So anyway, welcome to all the new people that have come on board. And then I encourage them to work with my successor, whoever that will be, and we'll choose that today because I put in my term, my time. And we do have a lot of wonderful things coming up, challenging things, but wonderful things coming up. And I think we've got some wonderful residents with so much talent in our community that we're going to be doing great things in 2021 and on to 2022. So that's about it, unless somebody else has any questions for me. I did respond to the protocols, and I will talk about that later. And thank you so much for Supervisor Parks to addressing my concerns and questions. And I have more, unfortunately, but she did a wonderful job in responding to me. Thank you. Okay, so that's it. Any more questions?
No, I
Any
just wanted to see if Supervisor Parks wanted to say anything about the rat poisoning. I wasn't sure you had mentioned there was a letter that was sent to her. So.
Yes, there was.
Yeah, my thought is that anything to do with pesticides in the state of California goes to the Department of Pesticide Regulations, and the Department of Pesticide Regulations then hands down to the agricultural commissioners of each of the counties to oversee pesticide issues. So it seems to me that what will occur as you reach out to our deputies, that they will reach out to the agricultural commissioner, as I indicated to our deputy today.
Thank you. Anything else, Janice, before we move on to JL?
No, that's it.
Thank you. JL, you're up. You're muted, JL. We can hear you now.
Okay, thank you. I attended actually my well, that's not my first, but I attended the last Rancho Simi uh, Recreation Park District meeting. And so, I get to know some of the people during the Zoom call, and yeah, and get aligned actually with all the plans and the issues that we have in the in Oak Park. One thing I would like to bring to everyone's attention, or at least in my view, something that is pressing that we need to do is coming up with a way to communicate our decisions, our issues to the public. And one of the things I'm thinking about, uh, which reminds me, Carolyn even like mentioned, hey, are you gonna post this into a press release and some website? But what we don't have any social media presence in for Oak Park Mac, right? So I don't know if you guys are keen to this, but how do you like to establish some social media channels like Facebook, for instance, as a starting point, and a Twitter account, so that if there's any like announcement, uh, the citizens of Oak Park can just sign up for all of these channels, and we can push our communication to them.
I think we can take that up as putting that on an agenda item and talking with Jan about that.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. That's my comment.
Thank you. Seema?
Okay, hi, everybody. I have a few things I wanted to say. So one was a really good positive thing was that I used the Ventura County Public Works app in December. I was driving by and I saw what it looked like a crossing push button thing pole fallen down by the shopping center on Canaan. So I put in a notice on the app, say, okay, I have the app on my phone. So I said, I'm going to do it. And I got really good response. I was very happy. It was between Christmas and New Year's, which is a really slow time. And someone called me from the Public Works Department that same afternoon to ask me a few more questions about it. And then they said they would send somebody. I also got an email response, and they responded by the next day that the contractor had already fixed it and he had somehow left that pole on the ground. But I just wanted to say I was very happy about that app. So just for the public to know that that Public Works app really does work and they give you a great response. The next thing is on November 25th, Carolyn and I and Valerie and Marco from the Enhanced Landscaping, we met to view some trees, the pine trees on Hawthorne. And so we looked at that pine tree that we had initially thought we might have to remove. And I think we had a good discussion and we feel we could save the tree. But we did find that the sidewalk had been in front of that tree was lifted up a bit. And further down Hawthorne, we saw a worse sidewalk lifted up, and Valerie sent us pictures a couple days ago about that. So thanks, Carolyn, for taking the time and for Enhanced Landscaping. Valerie coming all the way down to go over that. So, and further, I think we'll discuss this further down in item 15 about the committees and about the landscape committee, which I think needs to be, make sure we have that going because these tree issues are coming up. And I think that's a good way for the landscape committee to go resolve and go look at them and take care of that. And the last thing is the signboard. So there's, we have 2 signboards in Oak Park, and the one on Canaan, when you're first entering Oak Park, I help update that. And I noticed damage to that last month. So I let Jan know, and I think Public Works has come to take a look at it and decided it needs to be replaced. There was quite a bit of damage on the back of it and some water damage on the bottom. But I believe they have an extra one, Jan said, and they're going to replace it, but there might be a budget item for that, right, Jan?
Yes, I believe they said about $700.
So, which I think, that signboard is used a lot. So, and I think they're going to do a good job of fixing that up for us. So that was it.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Janice.
Unless I'm under the wrong impression, but it's my understanding that the homeowner is responsible for their trees out front between the sidewalk and the street, and responsible for repairing the sidewalk if the tree damages the sidewalk. Now, I'm not sure if I was told wrong, but are any of these trees that you reviewed?
No.
Okay, because Carolyn would know the answer to that. She's really on top of this. So I'm gonna let Carolyn answer that.
Well,
no, they're on open space and along the drive on Hawthorne. So they're not where the homeowner would be responsible.
Okay, because I just wanted to clarify that we, MAC, do not look at sidewalks in front of homeowners that are responsible.
No,
but I'm not sure what the process would be if someone had a complaint about it. Where do they go?
What do you mean complaint about?
Well, if they accidentally tripped on it, they notice it's raised, that a tree's creating the problem, where do they go if the homeowner is responsible?
Oh, if the homeowner is.
Right. I don't think MAC is the point of contact.
I would think they would call the county.
Yeah. The county has repaired our sidewalks as far as all the damage that trees have caused a couple of years ago. And I believe, that the situation is kind of solved for the time being in front of homeowners.
And then you have to pay the county?
Yes, I paid the county for my sidewalk to be repaired, to have the sidewalk ground down so the tree was not removed. So that was my responsibility and I graciously paid it. So we kept the trees.
Okay, makes sense.
Back in the old days, you'd have to pay for the entire sidewalk to be replaced. So it's nice that they could do some grinding instead.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's perfect. You can ride a skateboard right across.
All right, so I'm going to continue on. I have one comment and then I want to cover Triumpho and Oak Park School District that I represent and liaison to. So I wanted to mention street cleaning. So I think it was Henry Steelman had come to our previous meeting and had some concern about street cleaning. And I work from home now with COVID. So I noticed that, and he lives in my neighborhood. He lives just down the street from me. I noticed that the street cleaning truck did come by Churchwood on January 7th and January 21st. It was really noisy. I think they did a mediocre job. They didn't clean up. I looked outside. They did not clean up all the debris that was in the street. And they went at a very fast clip. I think it kind of matches what he had experienced. And I think it probably needs a follow-up to improve the service. So I know I see Chuck Alvarez online. I'm not sure what the next step for the MAC is. Is there anything that we're supposed to do, or Valerie?
Yeah, whenever there's complaints, you can give me a call and I'll call Benco
Okay.
to let them know.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I think we should probably just note that, another resident had complained about it.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether everybody's noticed, but I've seen some work happening on Lindero Canyon Road. I thought it was the Cayugas Waterline Interconnect project, which they had put in the Acorn. They have been putting in the Acorn that they're doing work on Lindero. But I brought it up in the Triumpho meeting, and Mark Norris said it's not actually part of the interconnect work yet, that they're replacing storm drains first. So he said the actual interconnect project may take up to 2 years. So I just wanted to mention that it's not where we had the information presented to us about the pumping station. That's on the other side of the road. So when you see those 2-foot pipes, it's actually replacing some storm drains. That's going to happen first on the south side. So Supervisor Parks, maybe you know more about that than I do, but.
Jan, do you have more information on it?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for the update.
Yeah. So then I wanted to mention just with Triumpho, we've had 2 meetings since we met last, since the Oak Park MAC met last, and the Pure Water Project is on track, and they've completed alignment workshops with the team, the water team, and they have something called a chartering process that they're working on. They also mentioned that we had quite a bit of rain in December. We had 3 inches of rain at Tapia water treatment facility, and it looks like we're going to have more rain today. So let's see, and then let's see the next meeting. For Oak Park School District, I mean, every time I go to one of those meetings, Alan's online, it's so impressive. The Oak Park organization, school district organization is working so hard. The staff, the teachers, the students, everybody, the parents are doing an incredible job with the distance learning. So I think a huge thank you to everybody and the Oak Park School Board meeting members. They did have an election, just like we did in November, and Denise Helfstein and Tina Wang were elected. Tina is replacing Barbara Leifman, who served 13 years on the Oak Park School District. They also voted in new officers, and Alan, who's online, he's our representative from the school district. He's now president, and vice president is Drew Hazelton, and the clerk is Derek Ross. Also, I wanted to mention that Dr. Knight has notified everybody that he'll be retiring at the end of July, and they have hired a recruitment firm to search for a new superintendent for Dr. Knight. And please, they're asking all the residents to stay engaged in the process, and there's a survey out there for people to respond to. Also, the school district is handing out meals. I think Janice had asked about that earlier, and they're serving over 500 families a week. So that's continuing with the COVID issue. And Alan, is there anything that you wanted to bring up? Thank you for attending.
No, that's really it. I just want the community to know that we're working really hard to get the schools open again, and we will open as soon as well, in alignment with the California Department of Public Health's guidelines, which is when Ventura County gets under 25 cases per 100,000 and stays there for 5 days. So as soon as that happens, we will be opening up K through 5 in alignment with the CDPH guidance. Secondary schools, I believe, can't open until we get back into the red zone, which is below 7 cases per 100,000. I hope we get there this school year. I really do. It doesn't seem like we will, but if we do, secondary schools will open as well. So we're really looking forward to getting our kids back in schools, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that when that 5th day beyond 25, we will be welcoming kids back into the classroom.
Any questions for Alan? Thank you, Alan. I really appreciate it. We're going to go on to item number 14, which is written communication. Does anybody have any? Oh,
Jane,
go
I have
ahead.
a question.
Sorry, Jana.
Okay. I was looking at our Acorn this morning, and there is an article in the Acorn in the letters department that has a lot of detail to it, and it's not really favorable for the treatment for water.
I saw that.
Did you see that? Was that ever addressed by the Triumphal Board, or is this something that's going to be addressed?
It has been addressed. I think Supervisor Parks also had similar concerns. So it has been addressed, and it's, I don't know whether it'll be responded to in a letter as well, or how we'll respond, but those are not legitimate concerns, worrying about contamination in the water.
Is the response public? Is it going to be a public letter that you can share?
I'll bring it up at the board meeting.
Yeah, I think that there should be some sort of response to the public. Good or bad, indifferent, with all the details of whatever, but it seemed very detailed to me.
I think there's a lot of misinformation, and I think that's a good point, Janet, for us to make the information available to the community so that everybody can hear the information and make their own opinion, make their own decision. Anything else from anyone? I do have something on, anybody have any written communication that they want to bring up? I have one. Oh, go ahead, Seema.
So last meeting in November, we had that Tony Principe from the West Cord Development, and he wanted to bring up that he was thinking about buying in the Oak Park Shopping Center next to the CVS, about putting in storage units. So I did have an email from him that they decided not to do that.
Thank
So
God.
he did not purchase that building, but he did say that somebody else purchased it. So I don't know. I asked Jan, maybe we can find out who did purchase it and what their plans are for that space. And that's it.
Thank you. Anybody else have any written communication they want to bring up? I have one. I got an email from Dr. Greenlinger from Oak Park Unified School District. He reached out to me last week about a student that was interested in having Oak Park be a bee city. And it really isn't a MAC agenda item. So we forwarded the email to Supervisor Parks' office, and Supervisor Parks, I don't know if you want to mention it here, but Supervisor Parks recommended that that the student attend the upcoming Planning Commission meeting, which is going to be talking about beekeeping. Supervisor Parks?
Yes, and this is something that's been being considered by our county. So the timing worked out really well. We are putting together some standards to enable more beekeeping in neighborhoods. So I think their input would be wonderful. And thank Jan for connecting the dots there on that.
Yeah, thank you. So Daniel Conway was the student. He was interested in coming and presenting in front of the MAC, but it's really doesn't fit with us. So it belongs at the county level. Any other written communication anybody wants to bring up? We'll move on to item
I
number.
have one.
Oh, sorry, Supervisor Parks.
Well, normally this is usually written communications to the MAC, right? But I just happened to get some good news and I wanted to share with the MAC, and it came to me in writing. So, and that is the contribution to the Canaan Shuttle will not be needed this coming year, 2020 to 2021, because the federal government has provided funding to transit agencies. So it looks like that contribution will not be coming out of your budget. So that's good news.
Good.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And I know Alan's on too. So we'll be, I'll be sending shortly an email over to the school district to and the city of Agur, our funding partners. So good news.
So there's no contribution needed by any of our partners?
Correct.
Wow, that's huge.
It is.
This is for 1 year, Supervisor?
Yes, it's related to the COVID pandemic, that the state has waived the requirement for that 20% match, and that's what all of our partners are paying.
Okay,
Wow.
that's great.
Anything else from anybody before I move on to item number 15, advisory matters? Advisory matters 15A, the MAC recommendation for the CSA number 4 landscaping area proposal for sidewalk repairs, which was mentioned earlier along Hawthorne and Rockfield. Valerie,
So,
are you?
Yeah, Valerie did send us that estimate. And I did ask Valerie if we can get a second, a bid on that proposal on that, because I just felt it was, for me, like the first sidewalk was not as much work that needed. The second one closer to Moreto, I guess that one, Valerie, the one that was much more uplifted. So Valerie, go ahead and maybe you can tell them about getting a second bid.
Seema, did you want me to show the photos?
Okay, sure. Yeah, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, for those of us who haven't seen the photo, maybe that'd be great.
I think this is the photo. 1 second.
There was 3 pictures.
Valerie, what do you think? Is this standard protocol when we see sidewalks like this in a general area, not a resident's front yard? Is this typically what comes before the MAC and we vote to
In this case, because
spend the
it was
budget?
over 10,000.
I see. I see.
Mm-hmm. So that's one.
Yeah, you can see this picture. This is the really bad one, and it had an orange paint on it. Somebody had marked it. And this one I feel it's a very common path. A lot of people walk here, and it's this one we really need to take care of quickly.
Is this on the way to school, the elementary school, Red Oak?
This is Rockfield and Hawthorne.
I have another one that says Moreto and Hawthorne.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to show that?
This one's kind of not right in front of the school, but there are people like from those apartments who live right there on what is that, Bowfield. They might walk over that way. So it is for some students on the way to school.
So Seema, after I saw those pictures, I just noticed, because I walk my dogs every day, there are many streets like that. There are many sidewalks like that in Oak Park. So are we responsible for fixing all of those? And how do we prioritize?
The sidewalks that you're mentioning, are they, they're not in front of property owners' houses?
Correct. The one that I'm talking, several that I come across every day are on Churchwood, right in front of Oak Hills Elementary School, or near Oak Hills Elementary School. So there are several. And I before we agree to even get a second bid on this, I'd really like to understand our protocol for sidewalks. I mean, better understand how we prioritize what gets fixed, or even see a full list.
In this case, I haven't received any phone calls about sidewalks needing repairs, so I'm not really sure. Now that you mentioned this one, we'll take a look, and we
So would it be the landscape committee that would go around and look for things like that, or who you are dependent on a resident to notify you?
Yeah, in this case, yeah, I think we would be involved with it. Normally, if there's an issue, then that's when we're involved in that. Because since I don't really, not really familiar with the area, I'm not there every day to see any issues. I do depend on complaints.
No, if it's in front of the school property, it's the school's responsibility. So anytime there's an adjoining landowner, that landowner is responsible.
So on Churchwood, it's between the park, Valley View Park, and Oak Hills Elementary School. It's on Churchwood. It goes by both properties. I'll have to take pictures and.
I would have to take a look of the area.
Okay.
But I thought repairs are handled by the county. As mentioned earlier, we were discussing if something like that happened, the county repairs it and the homeowner pays for it. Now, for these public areas, why are we paying this? Isn't this supposed to be a county?
Because it's an area that we maintain.
But it's coming out of our CS number 4 budget.
So Valerie, so JL, did you hear what Valerie said? It's just a minute, Carolyn. Let's let Valerie answer this. Did you hear what she said? It's in a area that the county CSA 4 maintains. It's not in front of a residence.
Yes, but so the counties. So we are paying the county $10,000. Right? Is that what it is? Who are you paying that?
It would come out of the landscape fund to pay for
then you're gonna pay a third party. You're gonna pay a third party contractor to fix it.
Yeah, our landscape contractor, Enhanced Landscape.
Okay.
Supervisor Parks, what's the protocol on the advisory matters? So I SEMA asked for a second bid, but what's our protocol on this before we agree to anything?
Usually what happens with sidewalk repairs is the Public Works Department takes care of that. And so they do get bids and they usually go for, by law, the lowest bid. And that's done when they do all the sidewalks. So this sounds like it's out of order, and since it's been identified separately from when they're going out and doing it. And if you think the bid is too high and it's you that are paying for it, I mean, even homeowners have the right to decide that they're going to do it themselves. So, if you want to take that over, I would think that is something that you could do, being that you oversee that, that you recommend that.
So we don't have to make a decision today at this meeting, Supervisor Parks?
I'm not going to, I don't want to step on toes of the Public Works Department. If the real estate department, if they have decided that this is a tripping hazard and they feel like they have the something that is within the market, I don't want to interfere with that. But if you have a decision that you decide that from what you understand that this is above what should be paid, you can certainly make that request.
So we were notified that 2 MAC members were concerned about the price. So it was suggested to get a second estimate. So I'll be working with transportation departments for another estimate. So I'll keep you guys updated.
Okay,
so
thank you for doing that.
So Valerie, if the second bid comes under 10,000, will it be brought back to the MAC or not?
Yes, if that's something you guys want to add, I can update you guys on what I received on the second estimate.
I would like to see if there is a bid that comes under, only to understand how they're going to approach to fix it. Because I get confused. I see the money, but I don't say their approach in fixing it. You can just put a slab of concrete on one side and make it a skateboard thing.
Right.
Or you can actually pick up that slab, trim a tree trunk underneath and then put it back in place where you don't really have to worry about concrete. So I really like to know what we're getting for the money. And I'm not seeing that in the $10,000 bid.
I think Carolyn, Jane, I think Carolyn wants.
I know, I'm watching, but I want the board to finish discussing it before I ask Carolyn to speak.
Okay. So Valerie said that the transportation department, in an email to me, that they can give us a rough estimate. They have a vendor that does it, but if they send out their contractor, he will charge to give us an estimate. So for now, we're just having the transportation department give us a rough estimate by their knowledge, I guess, of doing sidewalks. So it may not be as accurate because we do have the tree too there, those 2 trees also, right, Valerie?
Yeah, there's 3 trees.
But I think what Janice was requesting is very reasonable, to understand what we get for our money, not just that it's a general bid, but what will actually be happening to fix it. I think that's worth asking, Valerie, if possible, to get that information. Yes, that would be great.
Okay. Yeah, I'll ask the contractor.
Is that what you're asking, Janice? More details on how it will be mitigated?
Right.
Okay.
Carolyn.
Okay, hi. Valerie, I brought you over to my house to show you what the county actually did in front of my house when they repaired the sidewalks. And they, one place they picked up the entire square slab and poured a new slab. But in another place, I showed you how they just simply ground down the raised up part, so it made a smooth surface, if you remember that. And I only paid like $300 or $500 for that grinding. Okay, I did not pay such an excessive amount of money, and I am deeply concerned about that bid being so high for what's being asked to be done. Okay, I think another contractor could simply get a grinding machine. I mean, I watched the man with a hand grinder go across there, and it didn't involve a lot of time or equipment. So I would be very concerned about a bid being that high.
Well, and I think that goes back to what Janice was saying. We need to understand what's involved with the 10K.
Right. And the county did this in front of my house and along other, in front of other houses to preserve the tree and to make the sidewalk smooth. So I know that it can be done, and I know the county did it.
Okay, so Valerie, you've got the action item to come back to us at our next meeting with some more details.
Yes.
And potentially another estimate.
I know that there is an actual requirement, because we went through this whole effort of allowing for grinding to occur, because as we stated earlier, they would only do replacements, and you could have like a 1/2 inch lip and they charge you for replacing when grinding works, and it's a lot less expensive.
A lot less.
So when they make that determination, there's actually a requirement on how high that lip is, the displacement. So we do have to go with the county standards. I'm just putting it out there. It's nice when they can do it, but there's a point at which we can't exceed. And I know when they get the estimate that they will consider the grinding potential too. Thank you for bringing it forward.
My lip is about that same height.
Okay, Carolyn, we're going to move on.
I'm sorry, could I just add one thing? Remember, the MAC voted to not vote on anything under $10,000, any bids under $10,000. So it may not come back as an action item.
Valerie said that because we just requested that she come back with the update, that she would.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to 15B, which is the MAC recommendation, the protocols for the MAC members. Supervisor Park, did you want?
I think
yes,
Venice will be able to put the recommendation. And again, it's a suggestion. It's something that I know it took a little bit to get to you. So if we want to put it up on the screen, Venice.
Yeah. There we go.
And so I'll go ahead and if you'd like, I'll read through it and then get your comments. And I know that there's also several questions that Janice has too that she sent to our office. And so we'll be able to present that too on the screen.
Do you think we need to read all of them? I mean, I know we were sent them. I just wonder if there's a proposal for us to accept them.
Well, this is suggested, and I'll leave it to your MAC to look at and decide. The Brown Act, you know, that's something that is standard for all boards. You know, we need to do that. And this is just kind of highlighting that because we've had, it probably, since those are the most fundamental portions of the MAC of the act that relate to your communications, I thought that would be good to highlight in there. Under MAC representation, this again is something that actually comes out of our ethics training that we all have to do, and to see that you're pointing out whether you're representing yourself or you're not, you need to make sure that's clear if you're representing the MAC or if you're representing your own personal opinion. The third one, the coordination with the district offices, it seemed like it would be good to spell that out. And so that we're proposing, you know, keep us in the loop is essentially it, and stay within your jurisdiction is another part of that aspect. And to make sure that we understand that it's the MAC that the supervisor's office is following up and on items that the MAC requests. And then if you are going to communicate separately with the departments, that we be in that loop too, to ensure efficiency. And then we have a section on liaison assignments, and just, you know, what, putting it out there, we agree this is what we anticipate when you are that liaison, that you'll attend the meetings, that you'll report back, and that the liaison will be the one that will be the contact on those items within their area. And we'll also begin putting the links to those entities, agencies that are having items on their agenda relative to Oak Park. We'll put those on your agenda so all MAC members can see, and that would be including school board, Triumpho, Rancho Simi, so you'll have that available too. So you can also see what's going on in those areas too, in addition. So that's kind of what we threw out there, and feel free to.
So I'd like to make a motion that we accept these protocols. They look really crisp and clean to me and appropriate.
Well,
Is there a second? We'll have discussion after we vote.
What do you mean we'll have discussion after we vote? I'm
I
confused.
have a few questions here.
Yeah, I have a few questions. I'm not prepared to vote on them yet. They're excellent, by the way. Supervisor Parks actually responded to many of my questions, so I really appreciate that. I just want a clarification on one area where under the coordination section. Now the
section 3.
Yes, B.
3B.
Right. Now, where it is stated that we will engage in finding and giving recommendations in regarding to the public works, public health, safety, and welfare. My question is, are we allowed to do research with those departments, or do you want to be on all the emails when we reach out, Supervisor Parks?
Okay, could you, I'm sorry, I had the CEOs trying to get a hold of me. Could you repeat your question?
Okay. Okay, on the coordination B, section B, where relates where we are making recommendations. Well, to make recommendations, I have to do research. Can we research directly to these different sectors or departments and then bring the recommendations, or do you have to be on our emails when we reach out?
We ask that you keep us informed by CCing us when you are reaching out to other departments at the county.
Okay.
JL?
Okay.
Yes, can you move down, please, Venice?
Sure.
So my question is on 4C.
Mm-hmm.
Attend the walkthroughs. And review CS4, number 4 question. Because my experience, what we do here in Mac is that everybody discusses the landscape. Everybody, go through the discussion. Um, do you still need a liaison for that?
That's a good question. This Mac, all the Macs from the beginning of time to now, they all kind of morph as they go through, and some never had any of these committees. And, we brought up a committee and decided or to have a liaison. And so it's completely up to you if you want to have a liaison. Oh my goodness. There's something going on at the county. So it is important to, make that decision on your own. If you want to have a liaison, if you want to have a committee, or you just want to have it come to the MAC on those decisions.
So that's 15C where we're talking about the liaisons and appointees.
On your agenda, whether you want to, what the liaisons will be, correct. So you have that ability. And if you decide that you don't want that liaison, we'll take that out of the protocol.
But JL, we make some of the decisions, but who's been available to go visit all these trees and all? I mean, I've gone to several of these walkthroughs and not everyone's always available. So how are we
Right. So whoever is available, and then we bring back and then make a decision. And
so you could say the landscape liaison or other MAC representative or other MAC member, something like that.
Yeah.
Could update that. I think there needs to be a MAC member in the walkthrough though.
Oh yes, of course. Like everybody's been invited to the walkthroughs, right? And then whoever is available.
No, I don't agree with that, Jill. Like we invite people, but nobody goes. Okay. I've only been one going last year. So I think you need one person because we invite everyone, but none of you have been able to go. So
I've been working. I couldn't go because I had my job during the day.
I know. Everyone has other things to do. So one person is a liaison, they can arrange the timing maybe that works for them. They doesn't have to be during work hours if whoever is involved. But the one thing is the county likes to come, Valerie comes. So I know it's a very difficult thing. And so if we just leave it open to everybody, what if nobody agrees to go? Because no one's responsible. No one feels responsible to go.
I agree with you, Seema, on that point. And also, I prefer that we have a liaison who is the point of contact. Well, they get to know the history of it or history of what's gone on. So there's someone to go to for what's going on in the history of it. Also, if the liaison cannot make it, could we add something that the liaison can reach out and have a representative from MAC to go in their place? We can just add that, but it'll be the liaison that asks. My concern is that you have residents going to whomever on the MAC saying, would you come see this? Would you come see that? And then the liaison is just bypassed. And
don't we have a landscape committee as well? So should it be the liaison and landscape committee?
Well, not everything. Well, we have a liaison, we have a landscape committee. And by the way, I did not know about the committee that Carolyn was on for MAC. I was clueless at the last MAC meeting that we even had that and we had to reactivate it.
We did.
Okay, so in that meantime, I'm doing all the groundwork, not realizing I had help. And so I would have asked for help from that committee for some of the things that I approached.
Okay, are there any other comments on the suggested protocols? Because I recommend that we, I have a motion on the floor.
I want to make a comment before.
Sure.
I want to make a comment also. This is Alon. I just want to say that, I've been doing this for a long time, and most of the things that are in this suggested protocols are things that we've sort of done throughout the years. When I joined, I had very experienced people there sitting on the bench with us, and they all knew all these things, and everybody acted accordingly. And these are very, very standard, common sense, logical ways of thinking about your MAC your elected position. However, I want just to remind everybody and to understand that, in my opinion, these are suggested protocols. That means that they're not rules. That if an elected official should be an individual who does have the right to make decisions on their own if necessary, and not have to all the time notify everybody if they want to. If they feel like they need to do something for the community that's good for the community, and they need to do research on their own, or go talk to people on their own, or do whatever it is that they need to do on their own, it should be allowed as well. That's why they're an elected official. So with all that in mind, you just have to think that these are suggestions for you guys, for everybody to understand, so you understand the role of the position. Doesn't mean you can't do anything else. And that's my comment.
And one last comment regarding the committee. We only have one standing committee, and that's the landscape committee.
Correct.
And like what Janice said, actually, I don't understand what the purpose of that committee is and who are the members of that committee. Because that is also because I thought, the landscape committee will represent Oak Park in Rancho, Simi Recreation District meetings. But it seems that that is totally separate from what the committee is doing, and so that's where some confusion is, I think, in my mind, on what are the responsibilities of the committee and who are the members of this committee and what they are tasked to do.
So Jill, there's two areas, right? There's land that's owned by Rancho Simi Park District. But then there's also areas that are owned by the county and that MAC is responsible for. So I believe, is this right, Jane? Or Alon, let me know. The landscape committee is more responsible for that, not the land or parks that are controlled by the Rancho Simi Park District. That's separate.
I agree. Yeah, but if you're talking about landscape in general and everything, why do you have to separate the conversation, right?
Because it's very different. Like these tree issues, these are trees on county land, nothing to do with Rancho Simi. So we have to discuss whether the trees need to be removed. Enhanced Landscaping is our contractor for
Right.
public land. So they come up with things like last year I went on a drive-through where they pointed out like 15 or 18 dead trees. I think Janice was with me on that drive-through, and we were able to discuss every tree with them, and few of them we saved.
Agree.
These
I agree with you. There are two threes, right? So there are two.
This is the beginning of a new year for us, and I think we can bring that up, JL. I think we can talk about, do we want a landscape committee? Do we not want a landscape committee? We had
Okay.
one previously.
Okay. All right.
But can we close on the suggested protocols? Alon, I like your point of view. I agree with you on that. These are suggested protocols. They came from Supervisor Parks. I have a motion to accept these suggested protocols. Do we want to vote on that? Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Denise, do you want to do roll call, please?
I have Jane Nye.
Yes.
Seema Chandra.
Yes.
JL Diaz.
Yes.
Alon Glickstein.
Yes.
Janice Smets.
Yes.
Okay, it's been passed unanimously. We're going to move on to Advisory Matters 15C, which is the annual selection of the MAC liaison and appointments. And I think we should also, Seema, what do you think? Should we have a separate discussion about Landscape Committee, or should that be part of this assignment? Should we also?
Well, we brought it up last meeting, right, about reactivating the Landscape Committee in the last meeting. So I think it should be, my view, as part of the assignments.
Okay. Alon, do you agree, or should that be a separate discussion at our next meeting about the Landscape Committee?
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay,
It's
we'll
fine
leave it
either
up to
way.
JL to decide.
It is on your agenda, so you have the opportunity if you want to have that discussion now, but it's it's also something you can carry over to the next.
No,
meeting.
I meant the landscape committee, Supervisor Parks, specifically as, is that going to be, do we want to include that under the umbrella of assignments and liaisons, or do we want to take up the landscape committee as a separate topic at another meeting?
Okay.
So JL, what's your preference? You brought it up as a question. Do you want to discuss it today under the assignments, or do you want it to be a separate topic?
I wanted to discuss it today because
Okay.
so that we can just like, decide on this.
Okay. So under the assignments, 15C, chair is Jane Nye, vice chair is Alon Glickstein. School district, I'd like to continue, but if somebody's interested in that, I'm open to a new assignment. Is there anybody who would like?
Is there some way of, I apologize because I should have downloaded and I noticed I didn't. Is there a way of getting up the list that was provided by Jan on the assignments?
Denise, can you put the list
Jan,
up?
do you want to?
Jan provided it and I didn't
Elise,
download
can
it.
you?
I don't have it.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So
you don't
I'll
have
tell
it.
you.
Project it if you want. I can
tell you
project
what
it if
they
you
are.
want.
Oh, you
Okay.
can?
Yeah, I can
Well, I'll
project.
send it to Denise.
She'll send it to me and then I'll put it up.
Okay, I can
Yeah,
read them to you.
It's my fault, Jan. I didn't download it. I'm
No
sorry.
problem. So we've got the school district, Parks and Rec, meeting room, posting meeting announcement, that's already supervisor. Liaison to Triumpho, crosswalk and traffic safety, public relations, community outreach, community foundation meetings, oversized vehicle, liaison to law enforcement, liaison to BC Public Works, street sweeping, and landscape committee now.
I'm okay staying with whatever I'm on.
Landscape committee, right?
You want to keep whatever you're on, Alon?
Yeah, I'm okay with keeping whatever I'm on.
Okay, you've got community foundation meetings, oversized vehicles, liaison to law enforcement.
Yes, and I also want to make a comment on the landscape committee really
Go
quickly
ahead.
for JL. I just want to say that there, throughout the years, there was moments when there was a lot of work regarding the landscape, and the committee did a lot of work, and there were some years when there's nothing to be done and the committee does nothing. If we can, my suggestion is that if we want to have a certain year without a committee, we don't have to have a landscape committee. But whenever we do want to, when the situation comes up, we can always just create one immediately for the specific purpose. It's not a very big deal. Either way would work. I just want you guys to know it's there. And anyway, if something does happen in the community, the MAC members would step up and take care of it, whether there's a committee or not a committee. So it just depends on the times. And that's my comment on that, JL.
Okay, got it.
Okay, we can see it, Elise.
Okay.
So, Janice?
Yeah, now I'm stepping down from the Parks and Rec Planning Committee.
I can make changes for you as you go.
As the liaison to Rancho. I'm stepping down from that. I'd like to pick up a couple more, whoever wants to relinquish one of theirs. So I'll be glad to take two more, but I'm ready to move on and try new challenges here. Do we recommend our successors when we step down?
No, we've been pretty informal since I've been on it, and I really feel like I've personally made relationships at the school district, and also I'm on the Triumpho Sanitation District. It's actually Triumpho Water and Sanitation District. We should probably update that. Is the new correct name.
So
do you want me to take the crosswalk and traffic safety, Jane?
That would be great.
Okay, so put me into the crosswalk and traffic safety.
Okay.
And I can take another one. Alan, you got 3.
Janice, why don't you take the public relations and community outreach, because you do so much of the next door.
Oh boy, I knew you'd do
that's
that to me.
excellent.
that is community outreach that you're already
Okay, Seema, I'll take it.
So we can take that off. It doesn't have to be owned by the MAC chair.
Right.
So we'll move it over to Janice.
Okay. I'll take the public then, and I'll take the
Crosswalk.
the crosswalk, right? And so
And then,
that
but
leaves the park and rec open.
JL, you were talking about wanting to do some social media outreach. Is that something that you want to add to the public relations?
Yes, actually, that's the natural progression for this. So any communication out will have to be under that public relation community outreach.
Do you want to do that with Janice?
Yes, I like to do that with
Okay.
Janice because
Okay.
this is the first time we're doing that. So
That sounds
I want
great.
to
Janice, is that okay?
Sure.
we'll work together on that. And then regarding the Parks Recreation Planning Committee, I want to contribute to this committee. So this is the liaison, right? The liaison to Rancho, correct?
Oh, so you want that one, JL?
Yes.
Parks and Rec?
Yeah, but how does that affect the one down below where it says liaison to Standing Landscape Committee, JL and Janice? How does it affect that?
That's a last.
See, this is where the confusion is, right?
I'm confused.
This is where I am like, if you're talking about all, all the trees, one tree here, one tree there, whoever who is responsible for that, there should be only like one landscape, parks and recreation person. Or
I just don't see why we need that category at all. Yeah. I would like to delete that category.
You don't want to have a landscape committee?
Well, we have the landscape liaison to Rancho.
Okay.
But any of the few things that we get, why can't they just come to MAC or just write?
But SEMA just explained why. Because there's county landscape areas that need to be addressed prior to having a complaint from a resident.
Right.
And kind of, Janice, like what you did where you said, I want to attend the enhanced landscape sweep so that you understand. I think that's what this committee would do. They would be ready to sweep with enhanced landscape proactively rather than wait for a complaint. It's not park related.
No, not at all. Different jurisdictions.
And we do have residents. We have Carolyn Cass-Barton and Dan Barton as residents on the landscape committee. I recommend that we keep that, and that just like Janice and JL, what you've done already, which is proactively work with our landscape contractor, I think it's critical.
So how do you build the landscape committee? Who's the member? You mentioned
I don't remember.
Carolyn.
I don't remember.
Carolyn is there,
it was in a previous meeting. Carolyn's on right now. She's on the video.
No, right. I don't.
Dan.
Yeah, I don't have anything against you, Carolyn. It's just like how do you build the committee? Is that only like 2 people? Can we like open it up and ask?
We can open it up for
other
more
people
residents.
to join, to other
Yes.
residents.
But people haven't been interested in being a part of it. I was a part of it way back, like Alan said, maybe several years ago. I was a part of the landscape committee when Alan said we had so many other landscape issues, and then it kind of died away. And now these issues have come back about homeowners that are complaining about trees that are on county property. So you're dealing with the county on the MAC issues, and you're dealing with Rancho Simi on the park trees. So you have to
JL, it's good that you would be on both, because then you would have the information from the county to also bring over to Rancho, or Rancho over to the county, to make sure there's coordination.
I don't know, Jane. I don't really feel there's coordination needed between the two because
they don't listen to each other.
Because the landscape committee deals with enhanced landscaping mostly.
Right, right.
And maybe public works or the real estate department with this sidewalk trees that are disrupting sidewalks. They're really 2 separate things.
I understand they're 2 separate, but I think it would be great for JL to be on both committees and represent Oak Park residents. I mean, there's that link to make sure we're consistent across Oak Park.
But he has to step up to the timing, because I've been dealing with enhanced landscaping. I haven't seen JL dealing with them. So he could do it, but he's got to give the time to it.
Seema, why don't you change my name to your name down in that liaison to standing landscape committee? Why don't you put your
Right.
name in there and take me out?
Sure.
Okay.
So
So
why don't we do this then? I'll do the Parks and Recreation, and then Seema can handle the landscaping.
you don't want to do the landscape committee?
No,
Okay.
so because
Okay.
I work also,
Okay.
Jane,
So we've got
and
Seema, Carolyn, and Dan on the landscape committee. Is
My
that okay,
husband has-
Seema?
Yeah, and Carolyn had mentioned to me there was another person she knew who was
Yes,
interested.
Maureen Ribis. I have another, and I have, in fact, I found another gentleman today that is interested too. So I have those two names to add to the list.
Carolyn, will you coordinate with Seema on that?
Yes.
May I just make a suggestion, and that is that the liaison to your landscaping liaison shall work with the public. You know, and that the public would work with the liaison. I don't know if you actually have to have a landscape committee where you like designate who the individuals are, but leave it open so it can also include all the people that Carolyn has that she can bring in. But to actually call it a committee, you really should have designated members and all of that kind of stuff. You could just leave that open and to have the liaison work not only with the enhanced landscaping, but also work with the public.
Well, Supervisor Parks, we really did want to have a formal committee because I think it was critical that the public representative, Carolyn Cass Barton, was informed of things that were discussed in the Oak Park MAC. Previously, she had been left out, and I think we need to ensure that we have a formal committee. That's my recommendation.
Okay, so
we could add that. We could add plus public, but public communication. But I think we
just
need.
say if you're going to have a committee, you should actually decide these are the members of the committee.
We have that. We have decided that.
Okay, and then the other option would be, you know, in your protocols, you could say that that is one of the assignments of the liaison to landscaping is to work with the public. So if then you
I
would
like
have
that
a situation where members of the public feel like they were left out. So I think that's kind of a partnership
Excellent.
that you have to have.
Can we add that after we already voted on the protocols? Can we add that now, Supervisor Parks?
Yes, you can, and how you can do that is, you know, officially is you open up the vote again. If you get enough, if you get a majority saying you're willing to open the vote, then the next vote would be to make the changes, and then you can do it that way.
Should
So
we do that now?
You certainly can. You can do a vote to reconsider and then make that change.
Well,
so first would be the vote to reconsider, and you need a motion and a second.
But one question though, if we're having a committee, do we need to say then like how many members can be on the committee?
yes,
Yeah,
there should be some committee rules, right?
Right. If you have a committee, if you want to do it this way, where you just have the liaison be responsible for working with the public, then you don't need to have a committee with and then have to make the.
So we do have a committee. We voted to have Carolyn and Dan Barton be on the committee at our last meeting. I mean, that was something that we talked about, reconvening the committee, the landscape committee.
And that's where I kind of put myself into this, is suggesting that another way of going about it is just not have the committee, but have the liaison responsible for working with the public in addition to enhanced landscaping.
Oh, okay.
So the liaison can choose to work with whatever members of the public.
Wherever you want to work.
So JL, that seems to align better with your thoughts anyway, not have a committee.
That's right.
And then your committee can actually be the public, including the Bartons, as well as other members that may also want to be part of the landscaping input.
So do I bring up a reconsideration of the previous vote, or does SEMA do that? How do we do that, Supervisor
So this
Park?
is what, since you have it before you, the assignments and liaisons, you can also choose or not choose to have a committee, right? I think that's part of it. your assignments, your liaisons. But what do you think, Jan? You have some thoughts
I
on
think you were talking about the protocols, though. You were saying that we
Right.
should change the protocols. Is that that's a separate topic after this assignment topic?
I agree with you. You can go to those protocols, put in there, that you want to have the requirement of the liaison with landscaping to work with the public for their input. Not necessarily
Okay.
working with a committee, right?
Right. So I'd like to, as Supervisor Parks brought up, I'd like to reconsider our previous vote.
You make a motion to reconsider your vote on the protocol.
Okay.
And I have a question, Supervisor Parks. If the liaison is not available to talk with the public, can the liaison ask somebody else to help them?
I would just ask that you hold that question and because that's a second issue. Right now, we're just looking at whether you want to reconsider the protocol. I think what you're suggesting, Janice, is an alternate, right? So if that individual isn't available, should we also appoint alternates? And that is like I said, kind of a separate discussion. You are bringing up the protocols again, potentially. So, that is something you can discuss at that time if you want to have alternates.
So the protocols can be modified at any time if the MAC is making the suggestion and voting on it.
They are agreed upon protocols that the MAC is putting upon itself. So they can also decide to change their protocol.
They can modify it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So it would begin with a motion to reconsider the protocols.
I move to reconsider the protocol to what Supervisor Parks mentioned to
it's just that
add the public.
Yeah, you have to, once you decide to open up the protocol, then you have a separate motion on how you want to change them. But first you have to decide if you want to open the protocol. So it's just a clean motion of.
I move to open the protocols again.
I'll second it.
Can we have a vote, Denise? You're muted.
Keep forgetting. Jane Nye?
Yes.
Seema Chandra?
Yes.
Janice Smets?
Yes.
JL Diaz?
Yes.
Elon Glickstein?
Yes.
Okay, so now if you could put the list of protocols back up, Denise.
Yes.
And we'll go down to the liaison section.
Yeah.
Which is on the next page.
4C. Oh no, 4D. I don't know where it is.
No, I think you were right. It's in reference to the landscape liaison will be a MAC member and is expected to attend the walkthroughs and to review CSA 4 questions regarding landscaping and keep the MAC updated, including about proposals, and copy the District 2 supervisor. So what you could also add into those assignments is shall be the point of contact to work with the public, for example, or wording similar. Shall work with the public.
And we don't have to add anything in there about alternate at this time. We have to do that later. Or can we do this now?
I think you should do one thing at a time. So on this question is, do you want to incorporate in the responsibilities of the landscape liaison, the responsibility to work with the public and
not have a committee? Yeah, so yes, that's what JL is interested in. So adding to 4C, in addition, after the District 2 Supervisor's Office, and it should say, and shall be the point of contact to work with the public.
Right.
The point of contact, what?
To work with the public.
And shall be the point of contact to work with them.
And the next sentence, the liaison to the oversized vehicle ordinance, can we make that a separate line item?
Sure, make that D. Good, magic.
And then, do we vote on this? and talk about the alternate.
You did have a question of one of your MAC members wanting to make another change to the protocols. And that's actually, it could either be in the protocols or it could be in your MAC assignments. Do you want to have an alternate for any of these positions?
I think it should be in the protocol so that the.
Well, you have a list of assignments, so, we could go back to that and you make that assignment, but you could mention what the alternate's responsibility is if you want to have alternates. So the question would be, do you want to have alternates for your liaisons?
Do we have to assign an alternate then for every
I
single?
think we just have 5 members here. I think it's too much.
Yep,
We're already having a
agree.
difficult time getting anybody to do the work, let alone name an alternate.
I agree. I was looking more that the liaison can ask any one of the MAC members to go in his place if he's not available.
Oh yeah, you can certainly do that, right?
Yeah,
If
I
they are
don't know
not
that has to
available.
be formal.
I
Yeah.
don't think it has to be formal, but I'm not sure if that's in the protocol.
I don't think it has to be.
It is an interesting thought because if you're talking specifically about like going to a school board meeting, or are you talking about going on a landscape walkthrough at any time? Shall we just make that the ability of one MAC member could request another MAC member to take their place? Is that kind of what we're looking at?
But then what happens if nobody is available?
Yeah.
Does that cancel the walkthrough? Does it cancel the?
Well, obviously, they missed the school board meeting, they missed the school board meeting. If the walkthrough should be scheduled, you would hope, with the schedule of the MAC member who will be attending. And if they can't make it, they could reschedule.
So that's why I think, I think it's more critical for the landscape liaison.
I agree with that. I think we can just say if that person can't make it, they can ask any other of the MAC members.
Yes.
And they can arrange a time that works for them.
Okay, and that's not just for a particular liaison or just across the board?
I think across the board, if somebody can't make it to something, they can request another MAC member.
Okay, so we want to add like between E and F or something, another item that says liaisons may reach out to another MAC member to
Substitute. Substitute.
To substitute for them at a meeting they can't attend.
Right. For them.
Substitute for them at a meeting or event or meeting?
I would just say event.
I would say a meeting, event could be.
Okay.
Liaisons may reach out to another MAC member to substitute for them at a meeting. Is that what you want?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
And now move approval of the changes.
Okay, I move approval for the changes of the suggested protocol. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Okay,
Venice, would you do a roll call, please?
Sure will. I'm going to stop sharing here. J9?
Yes.
Seema Chandra?
Yes.
Janice Smets?
Yes.
JL Diaz?
Yes.
Elan Glickstein?
Yes.
Okay, can you bring up the assignments
Sure.
list again? And we're just going to confirm the assignments.
All right. Do you want me to write these in for you as you're going?
Yes, please.
Okay, and Jan, I've updated these documents. I'll email them to you after the meeting, okay?
So Chair Jane Nye.
Yes.
Vice Chair is Elan Glickstein.
Did I don't think I spelled that. Okay.
School District, Jane Nye.
Okay.
Parks and Recreation Planning Committee, JL Diaz.
Okay.
No change to meeting room.
Okay.
No change to meeting announcement, posting meeting announcement.
Okay.
Liaison to Triumpho, and it's Triumphal Water and Sanitation District and the same name. Yeah, water. Thank you.
Okay, and is that still?
Cross, same name, Jane. Yeah.
Okay.
Crosswalk and traffic safety, that's going to be Janice Metz. Is that correct, Janice?
Correct.
Then public relations and social media, community outreach.
And you have two.
And that's going to be Janice Smith and JL Diaz.
Mm-hmm.
And not Mac Chair. You can take out the Mac Chair. Thank you.
So Janice Smith.
Smith and JL Diaz.
And JL Diaz. Okay.
No change for the next 4.
Okay.
Seema, I didn't check with you on liaison to VC Public Works Agency. Is that still
fine.
you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Street sweeping and landscape CSA
That's Seema.
number 4. That's going to be Seema Chandra.
Okay, so I'll make that a separate.
Wait, are those separate?
It's all the same.
Oh, it's
It's
all,
all the same.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all the same.
Well, actually, there's no committee anymore. You're right.
Right. That section is deleted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
No.
You were right.
Yeah. Remove
So
the.
No, that's wrong.
Yeah,
There is no, that's wrong.
That
No
just gets
landscape
removed.
CS number 4. That's wrong.
What's
And the
wrong?
street sweeping, I'm not sure about the street sweeping coordinator. Wouldn't that be,
No,
would
that
be
was going to
somewhere-
be SEMA. Street
SEMA,
sweeping
yeah.
and landscape was going to be SEMA.
Yep, that's it.
And then the one below it gets removed.
Yep,
Okay,
that's
what
right.
is landscape CSA number 4? I'm confused on
That's
that.
the county
That is
landscape
county.
that we just talked about. There's no
Okay.
committee. The liaison is SEMA Chandra. The one
Right.
below it, landscape review,
It's
gets
done.
removed.
Delete this.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, is that landscape CSA number 4, is that where SEMA goes directly to Public Works?
No, it's landscape.
Goes directly to the landscaper?
The landscaper, the street sweeping, yeah.
No, and then
It's
I
both.
bring the issues to the MAC meetings. You
Go
know,
back.
I report to you on any of the
Right.
issues.
Yeah. Then
So
that
the
question-
Oak Park Unified School District with Alan Rosen is correct. All that below is correct.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
here is the final.
That's
Hey,
the final. Thank you.
I have a suggestion or a question regarding the Oak Park assignment. I think there's one area that we can add here, and I want to hear your thoughts. What about community building? An assignment regarding community building. Community building, yeah, so what I'm seeing is that there's no activity from the MAC to build a I guess build a community, like some event that we bring everyone together, some sporting
I think Supervisor
something.
Parks has done that in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish I could do it now.
Yeah, but
So I think that
correct,
really
yeah.
belongs at that level.
Okay, it's not
And
the
we
MAC
can-
level, Oak Park MAC
we can
level,
certainly
okay.
bring it up as an issue at a meeting, an agenda item if you're interested in something. But I think that's, really in the past has resided at the supervisor's level.
But we could
Yeah.
also, if the MAC has a project they want to do, you can bring it to the MAC, and, you don't necessarily need to be a committee, but it's something certainly that the MAC can do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
All right.
that's a great idea.
All right. So it's 4:01. I'd like to adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Supervisor Parks, for hanging in with us for the whole meeting. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you, Jan. Thank you, Venice. Really appreciate your help.
Congratulations.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
We're
Thank
adjourned
you.
at 4:01.
Thank you, guys.
4:02.
Thank you,
Stay
everybody.
safe, stay
Thank you.
safe.
Bye.